And the spirits have outlasted the huge creatures, which is awesome. Yeah, that's it, folks. Hey, Tim here from Menacing MTG, and today we have a spirit deck, all right? And I'm just going to turn this around here for you so you can get a good look at things. Um, so yeah, we have spirits here, and the big idea with this deck is to go wide with spirits, and then get Vito on the board and use Vito's ability to pay 5 and all creatures gain lifelink until end of turn. Then they all attack, and Vito reflects the life gained by you as damage to the opponent. So this has been used in a few other decks that I have differently, but this is a pretty resilient deck, and I was kind of surprised. It seemed like a little bit of fluff, but I was kind of surprised how wide you could get this. Um, and there are some backup elements to this, but let's just start out by looking at the spirits, which are kind of the heart of the deck here. So we have 3 of these: Usher of the Fallen, a 1-drop, 2/1 creature, and it has Boast. So theoretically, on turn 2, you can attack with Usher and pay Boast and create a token, a human warrior creature token. Okay, so you can do that. And then we have 1 enchantment, and this is just a single copy. This is a 1 white drop. It gives a creature +1/+1, and whenever enchanted creature leaves the battlefield, create a 1/1 spirit creature token with flying. Okay, so pay attention to that there, the token there with flying. All right, that's an important piece to this. And there's only 1 here, but as we proceed along, you'll see that there are reasons to pay attention to that. So then we have a single Hateful Eidolon. It is a spirit. It has lifelink. And whenever an enchanted creature dies, draw a card for each aura controlled you controlled that was attached to it. All right, so again, a single copy may strike you as a little strange, but there is a little rationale to this. So then we have 1 Omen of the Dead, just to be able to bring something back from the graveyard. 2 All That Glitters, so you can buff something up so it's actually a viable blocker. And you can see that Eidolon is an enchantment. This is an enchantment. This is an enchantment. 2 of these that get bigger with every enchantment you have on the board. All right, so then we have Clarion Spirit. We have 4 of these in here. They're 2-drop, 2/2 spirits. And whenever you cast your second spell when this is on the board, and so this can happen on the turn that this comes onto the board. For example, you can drop this on the board, then drop Hateful Eidolon, and immediately it will create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Okay, again, doesn't feel like that big a deal, but let's proceed onwards. Then we have Rally the Ranks. We have 2 of these in here, and this is an enchantment, a mere 2-drop enchantment, that when it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures that you control of that chosen type get +1/+1. In almost all cases, you're going to be choosing spirit. So all those 1/1s and 2/1s and 1/2s, 2/2s, they're all going to get +1 when each one of those comes on the board. If there's 2, then you get +2/+2. Now I love the art and the theme in the art here, where you have these kind of milky green characters in the background, spirits, in other words. I love this theme here. So then we have 4 acquisitions experts, and we want a lot of cheap cards, and there's a reason for that as well. But we do have Tergrid in here, so we're going to have 4 acquisitions experts. If you looked at any of my Tergrid decks, these are in every single one of them, because things that are discarded when Tergrid's on the board come back to you. They become your property. So then we have 2 Skyclave Apparitions, a core spirit. Okay, this is a spirit. Now this isn't necessarily a card you're going to use to throw all like glitters on it or whatnot, but it is one that'll benefit from Rally of the Ranks and make it more resilient, because a 2/2 is pretty easy to kill. So you can possibly buff this up. It exiles permanent of the opponents that has a mana cost of 4 or less. Okay, excellent addition, another spirit. Then we have 3 Soul Shatters. Again, this is just a magical card, and synergizes perfectly with Tergrid. Then we have Vargoth, Blood Sky Sire. This is a dual purpose card here. It's a blocker with Death Touch. And then you can use its boast ability when you attack with it. And you get to search your library for a card, then put it on top of your library. So you can find whatever you might need. It might be a Lurrus. We'll get to that shortly. Then we have a couple of very key cards here. We have 3 Vito, because the idea is you want Vito on the board as you're building up the number of spirits that you amass. And Vito is going to sit until you have 5 mana and hopefully 5, 6, 7 spirits, and attack with them by giving it the its 5-drop option here of giving everybody lifelink until end of turn. Now, these are fragile creatures. We're talking about a lot of fragile creatures, but we have 1 Omen of the Dead and we have 3 Lurrus. So let's just take a look at a couple scenarios. So say you've lost an Usher. Say you've lost Clarion Spirit. Say you've lost an Eidolon. If you lost a Clarion Spirit and an Eidolon or a Usher, you can bring these things back. Anything that has a mana cost of 2 or less, that is a permanent. So let's see. So that includes Omen of the Dead. It includes Valor of the Worthy. So anything that costs 2 or less that's a permanent, Lurrus can bring back a single copy of that each turn. All right. What I love to do, the optimum scenario, is to have 4 or 5 mana before bringing Lurrus out, if it's possible. And the reason for that is to get some immediate value out of Lurrus. Even if he gets killed that turn or the next turn, you bring him on, and then if you have an Eidolon or a Usher of the Fallen or a Valor of the Worthy, you can bring him on and immediately bring one of these guys on for high value and instant impact. We have 1 Revenge of the Ravens in here, and it has, in a couple of my games, been a total savior and won a game for me for sure, very clearly. Just because, you've got some lifelink flying in this thing with any luck at all. You've got a lot of complex things going on in the game, and this can be something that can really make a difference. So we threw a copy in there. I know a lot of people frown on kind of having single copies of several cards, but I am not one of those people. I buck that trend. I mean, there are clearly decks where you want to keep right to the theme and have 4 copies of everything or nearly everything in it. But I do believe there's alternate builds that don't require that. So then we have a single copy of Eradicator Valkyrie, and this card has flying, lifelink, and hexproof from Planeswalkers. It also has boast, and the boast is big. As if you've seen my other Tergrid decks, you can cause the opponent. You have to sacrifice a creature, but as you see, we have lots of disposable creatures, tokens even. So you can sack a token or whatever, and then the opponent has to sacrifice a creature or planeswalker. All right, so, and it also has lifelink, which is a key feature here with Vito. So then we have 2 copies of Maskwood Nexus. Now this is the card in this deck that can make things go a little bit wild in your favor. It can create shapeshifter tokens that are going to be considered spirits, because Maskwood Nexus makes all creature cards every type of creature card. So every single creature you bring on the board, including Tergrid, anything, is going to benefit from Rally of the Ranks. Okay, so that's the power of that. Create tokens, make everything a spirit. They can benefit from that. Yeah. So then last is Tergrid. We have 3 copies. You can use the creature, which steals things that are sacrificed or discarded. And you can use the lantern, 2-sided card. The lantern is powerful on its own. Matter of fact, I have ideas of an artifact deck that you would really only use the lantern in most cases. And the lantern has tap it. Player loses 3 life unless they sacrifice or discard a permanent, triggering Tergrid if you have it on the board. Also, you can pay 4 mana and untap it and use it again in the same turn. So, a powerful card. All right, so that is the entire deck. The lands, ultra simple. 10 plains, 10 swamp, 3 bright climb pathways. So you got 23 lands in here, and that's it. But they're extremely cheap creatures. I think going any higher than that would be a mistake. You could conceivably ditch a plains and a swamp and maybe add another bright climb. So you go down to 22. I'll leave that up to you. You could also make an argument for ditching Maskwood Nexus, ditching 1 copy, ditching them both, and throw in some more spirits. You could throw in another Eidolon and a couple of Myers Grasp, which would be brought back. All that stuff would be brought back with Lurrus. I don't know what else. You could lose 1 of the Tergrid and both of these and add an Eidolon and 2 Myers Grasp. I like to have something that gives me a little oomph moving down the road, and that's why I have opted for this. But there's a lot of ways you could play around with this deck and make it your own. I've given you the core principles behind it. So once again, kind of multiple avenues to victory here, with a lot of regeneration of spirits and a lot of token generation, and then the core lifelink. And having 3 copies of Vito in this makes it a sustainable concept, and 3 copies of Lurrus as well. So even though there's 3 Tergrid in here, I think that these 2 cards combined with all of these spirits make for the winning game in most cases. So that's it for the deck. Hope you enjoy the games, and thanks for watching. Have a great day. We will certainly need 1 black mana soon, so we'll hope for that. Okay, we'll be able to run Boast next turn if we don't have a blocker. We do have a blocker, but it's not of consequence here because it will not be able to kill us, so we will absolutely run Boast here. And he chooses not to block there. Could be looking at a mutate deck, which can be a big problem. Okay, they're going to take that out. Fortunately, we'll be able to bring Lurrus on. We're not going to do it this turn because we're going to wait till next turn to bring Lurrus on, because then I can bring Usher back the same turn and not risk losing Lurrus before getting that accomplished. Lurrus will also be handy because we have Vito on the board and that lifelink and Vito equal trouble for an opponent. Okay, there's another blue, so it could be in the counter realm here. Can also bring out Maskwood. Okay, this is a problem. It's going to gain and lose the life thing. Okay. That'll stop my attacking for a bit. Okay, maybe not. We'll let them come in. Alright, so I think we'll go with the Luris, Usher the Fallen combination and just come in for a couple. Okay, Boot Nipper, that presents a problem. He's going Death Touch. We do have another Luris, which is a real luxury. No blocks. Okay, that's good news for us. Okay, let's see. This is great because we can cast a second spell this turn, which will mean we won't be able to use Boast, but so we're going to be creating some tokens here. And what we do want with this deck is to be able to have many things. We want to go fairly wide and then activate Vito's lifelink. But for now, we're just coming in here. And they'll block with Boot Nipper, I'm pretty sure. The problem will be with as Mutate evolves, so we don't have a ton of time to get things done here. Okay, that's a problem. Although we create a token and we can bring those things back. Alright, that presents another problem. Flyer on the board with Death Touch, no less. So we'll see if they just stay put. They do stay put. So at this point, wow. So we're going to go ahead and tap these two to make sure we have 2 white mana left. Bring this on, which creates 2 tokens. Alright, and next turn we'll have to wait for that. But at this point, we're going to stay put. And we have enough token flyers here to take out the Dreamtail Heron if it comes in. So we may just see them staying put. We have a pretty scary arsenal of things, and in fact, if we get a land next turn, we can probably end the game by bringing Luris and everything else in with lifelink. We'd keep Vito back. Yes, they have killer spells here. Will they attack with anything? I doubt it. Okay. Lifelink, oh, that's a big coup for them. Okay, and they'll give it up because they are empty-handed. And they know that we can, reflect back any damage that has lifelink. Any life we gain would reflect back with Vito. So that's a classic game for this deck right here. That was the goal, to go big, and it was really particularly overwhelming because we have another Luris in hand. So that's the game. That's the deck. I hope you enjoy. And you can see that Luris can bring both these two things back. We've got mana. We can toss up Ravens. Decent start. Okay. We're just going to come on in. Yikes. Okay, Vito and Ravens doing their work. Okay, we've got the blockers now. I think we're just going to take a couple out of them. And they're going to lose life coming in with Ravens doubled with Vito. The disastrous thing would be if they had a creature fights creature thing and took Vito out. Yeah, there it is. Good news, we can keep using Eidolon, the blocker, and bringing him back. Matter of fact, we can use this guy for the same purpose. This'll hurt. And unfortunately, nothing but land. And we'll use Vito here. Luris to come on in. Very tight game here. I think we've got them. Oh, we certainly do. Oh, 4 or less, I will take this. That means attacking with 1 creature ends the game. Unless they have means of removing Revenge of the Ravens. They're unable to attack at this point with Ravens on the board. And I have 3 flyers. And the spirits have outlasted the huge creatures, which is awesome. Yeah, that's it, folks. Excellent.